Okay, we are on to part number 7 today. So this will be 3 parts in one day. I might not get this one done today, we'll see. I want to cap the monitor and do the circuit board and stuff, so we might. I mean, it really shouldn't take long to do the cap kit. There's not very many caps on that board. It's these right here. There's really not very many at all. And I probably won't even show the whole process. I'll just show you desoldering a few of them and putting them in place. I'll just show you how I do it. You don't have to have a desoldering gun to do this. If you don't have one, you could use just a soldering iron. I'll show you both methods so you guys get an idea. You know, I forgot to mention on the last video, you guys are probably wondering, why did I waste my time painting the front of this cabinet white if I covered it up completely with artwork? The reason why I painted this white, because this vinyl has a gray back to it, but you could still see through it. I don't know that I have a piece out here. I might. Let me look and see if I have a piece. Even though it has a gray back, you can kind of still see through it. So it has a gray back right here, but if you hold it up to a light, let me see if I can kind of show you here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but you can get some light through it. And what happens is if I were to leave that front kick plate black in color, chances are the white's going to look dingier on the front than it does on the sides of the cabinet. Some of the blue might not be as vibrant as it is right now. So that's just why I like to paint white underneath this vinyl. So let's move this cabinet over here. I'm going to show you how I discharge monitors real quick, and then we'll get that board off of there and I'll take it in the house. Okay, this board or this monitor might not have a charge in it anymore. It's been off for a couple days, and this is a newer monitor. And I know some of these newer monitors discharge on their own. This is more of a unique situation because this is mounted to a piece of wood rather than it being one complete cage that the monitor is mounted to. So I have this old wire here with alligator clips on it. I'm going to take the one side and I'm going to clip it to my, I'm out of the screen here. I'm going to take this old alligator clips, clip one side to my screwdriver, and then I'm going to clip the other side to the monitor. Now normally you could just clip it to here because that would be part of the frame of the monitor, but in this case this bar right here is only going to wood. It is not directly going to the monitor itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip it to this bolt right here, because this bolt right here goes through to the other side, which is attached to the monitor itself. Okay, to the band that goes around the monitor. That's really the only way I can ground this because I have no other metal source available that's connected to the tube itself. So I have my screwdriver here in my hand. I'm going to keep my other hand away from everything. I'm not going to touch anything. I'm just going to take this screwdriver here and I'm just going to put it right underneath this cup. And just as I suspected, there was no clicking sound or anything like that, no snap. So now we got it off of there. So I'm going to hook this back up to the, it popped off on me. I'm going to move this out of the way, and I'm just going to take my screwdriver in here and just move it around a little bit just to make sure. So there's no, it wasn't charged. It had discharged itself. So now I can get the neck board off. So we're just going to carefully, lightly wiggle this off. Get that out of the way. And you can tell this monitor has fewer pins than a lot of these do. So that's off. Now we have a ground wire, which goes on to the, I think it's called the DAG wire. But I'm going to have to cut this wire. And, oh, somebody already cut it. Look at that. They spliced it together, didn't even put a wire cap on it. So that's pretty nice. So we have that off. I need to cut this zip tie so I can get that off of the bar. Then we just need to unbolt this, which there's only 2 screws partially holding onto it. So we can take this off. And then when we go to put this back together, we'll discharge that one more time just to make sure. But usually it's never anything to worry about. Okay, let me get this unscrewed here. The video number 6 that's uploading right now, it's a long one. It's an hour and 20 minutes. it shows quite a bit of stuff. So hopefully, hopefully these videos are helping you guys out here. I think somebody's already capped this. So I don't know if putting new caps in are going to make much of a difference or not. I think it might just have been out of adjustment. So now we got that done. Oh, there's another one over here. Now this monitor, the way it's mounted in here, I'm guessing that's how these original monitors in '79 were mounted, right to this piece of wood. Because you can see that there's like these things right here where stuff was screwed in originally. I don't know anything about the monitors that originally came in here. I believe this game is from '79. So I've never seen one of those monitors. I think somebody had mentioned it was a 4500 maybe or something like that. So I'm not familiar with that monitor at all. And I really don't know what this monitor is either. My buddy who owns the game ordered the cap kit for it, so I'm not quite sure. So we got the yoke wires unplugged, and you don't have to worry about when you plug this back in. It only goes one direction because these two pins are wider than those two pins. So these two are closer together than these two. So it can only go back in one way. And then we have our wire right here for our degauss cable. So that's done. Our chassis is now loose. I just need to cut this zip tie off, and then we'll be able to take this in the house and replace these caps. And you can see somebody's worked on this board. There's kind of some dark soldering and heavy solder going on over in this area here. Looks like some of these transistor or resistors and stuff were changed. So I don't know what's happened to this in the past. The cap kit, this cap has definitely been replaced here. You could tell by the new solder job. Looks like all the caps have been replaced. Now, I don't know how long ago that was. We'll just pop them out and put new ones in. It doesn't take long to do. We might as well just do it and be done with it. Then if there's still a problem, we'll know something else is wrong with it. But to be honest with you, it looks like some of these little caps here have never been replaced, and they have not. So this is probably sent out to get repaired at some point. These repair shops only repair what's bad. They don't recap these whole boards. Some people say that you shouldn't because a lot of these original caps are better than the new ones out there. They might be right, they might be wrong. I don't know. You know, I'm not that great with monitor repair. I can get by, but it's definitely not my strong suit. I'm more of a cosmetic type guy when it comes to that. So I'm gonna cut that zip tie off, and then we will get this stuff inside and start putting the caps on it. Okay, now I've got the cap kit here, and this is a piece of paper showing all the cap kits and the location of the caps. And as I put the caps in, I take I use this green highlighter, and we'll mark that we had taken the one out and put the one in. Let me see here. I just want to make sure that this is right for this chassis. So I'm going to look at C45 is what I want to look at here. C45. It's a 470 25 volt. C45 is right here, and I said it's a 470 25, and this one says 470 16 volt. So this is correct. Okay, now this old cap is a 470 16 volt. Long as your first number is the right value, you're fine. The voltage can be higher. You don't want your voltage to be lower than 16, but you can go higher than 16. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do one cap at a time, and we're just gonna go in order here. So we're gonna go with the first one in the column. It's a 1 UF50. So I'm gonna pour my caps out on the counter here. And we're gonna find a 1 UF50, which I don't know if you can see. Let me see. Well, they're all right over here. So I'm gonna find a 1 UF50 right here. So this is our first cap. And the first cap location is, we need three of them. First one is in C12. So we need to find C12 on the chassis. The chassis is completely numbered. There's 18, 23, C11, C12. C12 is right here. So we're gonna take this, we're gonna flip the chassis over, and we're gonna look for C12 on the back here. It should be labeled on the back as well. Here's C12, positive and negative, it's right here. So we're gonna take our desoldering gun and we'll see if this will come out. Sometimes you have to add solder to it, sometimes you don't. Okay, first one's out. I'm holding the cap with my hand. I'm pulling on it just a little bit as I'm desoldering it to get it to come out. And then we're gonna take our new cap, and we have to make sure that you go negative and positive. The stripe side is negative, the opposite side is positive. We'll take the old cap off to the side, and it is marked on here, plus, and then the other side does not have anything. The plus side of the cap is usually always the longer leg. So we are gonna take that, we're gonna find our C12 here, we're gonna slide our longer leg into the plus side, all the way in, and then we're gonna take these for now, and we're just gonna fold them over. We're not gonna solder that in right now. And we're gonna do that to all the caps, fold them all over just like that, and then we'll come back and solder them all in one shot. Okay, that first cap is in place. So now I'll come over to my paper here and I'm gonna mark off C12. Then I'm gonna find C18. I gotta wait for my gun to heat back up. I had to step away for a couple minutes. Let me pause this for a second while that heats back up. Okay, that's just about heated up here. So we're gonna find the next one, which is C18. So we'll come over here, and it's right here, C18. So I'll flip it back over. I'll hold on to this, and we'll find C18 right here. And we always want to check the value of the cap when you pull it out. Just want to make sure it's the right one. So I got a refined C18, which is right here. Once again, our longer leg is the positive side. Push it in, flip it over, and bend it. Let's do one more, and then I'll finish them up. I'll get them all put in place, and then I'll come back and show you how I solder them all on. Now you can do this with a soldering iron as well. If you take your soldering iron and you hold your cap and you heat one leg up and then try to pull it through and then heat the other one up and kind of go back and forth a couple times, you can get it with a regular solder iron as well. This is just a cheaper kit from Amazon. It was maybe 150 bucks. It's not real expensive and it seems to work just fine. So now we're looking for C22. Which is right here. This is C22. It takes more time finding the caps than it does putting them in. So where the heck is C22 in the back here? It's right here. For some reason it doesn't seem to be labeled on the back. I can clearly tell it's these two. There's no labeling on the back, but on the front top there is, so we'll be all right. So it's this one here. And you want to try not to heat these up for too long because you can damage the pad on the board. And we'll check it. Yep. Grab our new one here, stick it in. Flip it over, bend them over. And then we'll mark that one off. So now we have all three of that size done. And I'm just gonna work my way down this list until they're done, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how I solder them all on. I wanna show you guys another thing here. I've got these first 2 rows done. Now this next one here, these are 10 UF50s, C4, C5, and C6. These are non-polar. Non-polar means it can go either direction, the cap. There is no plus or minus on the cap. So it can go in either direction, that does not matter. Just figured I'd show that to you guys real quick. Here's all the old caps. We have all the new caps onto the board. We still need to solder them. There was one cap that was on the neck board as well. All right, let me do the one on the neck board first, just to get that out of the way. I have the 2 legs bent over. I'm trying to just bend this cardboard so I don't have to take it off. So I'll just take our soldering iron, set it onto the board, and just push your solder into it. And then we take our cutters and we want to cut these flush. Don't want to cut the solder, but you want to cut them low enough so that there's not a real long leg sticking out. And make sure you don't leave any legs on the board. So if you can see, that's what that new one looks like in place. So now let's flip over the chassis. And you can see I have all my new caps and there's just legs everywhere. So I'm just going to take my solder gun. And I'm just going to take my solder. I'm just going to go right around the board, soldering all these caps on. Once I get everything soldered, then I'll come back and cut all the legs off. This is a real quick way of doing it because, you know, you have everything already installed, everything's figured out. So it's not like you have to spend a bunch of time at this point. You just have to hold the gun on there and put your solder on. Some of these caps that the previous person changed, they lifted the traces a little bit, but luckily they seem to be going right back down. The couple, there was only like 2 that were lifted a little bit. Every so often you got to clean off your tip. Doesn't take very long to do it. Got to clean this one up. A little bit of solder went to the pad next to it. I think it's supposed to, but we're going to separate it just in case. Okay. think we got them all. Just want to double check. Looks like I got them all. Clean my tip off here again. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my cutters and I'm going to cut off all these legs just above my solder. Piece of paper or something on here. Get rid of that. Just do one at a time and hold it and take it off the board so you don't accidentally leave it on there and run the risk of screwing something up. Okay, over here, two more. Okay, you can see they're all soldered back on. These are the new caps in these locations here. So this is ready to go back in. And I'm pretty confident those are supposed to touch those. Just want to make sure. Okay, what it's touching is a non-used spot. Okay, we're fine. There's two holes next to it that is not being used, so it does not matter. So this chassis is all done. All the caps are replaced. All the legs are cut off of it. So we can install that back into the monitor. So we'll get that out of the way. Now I want to mess with this board. I had to clean my desoldering gun. I had a bunch of solder stuck in the bottom and it didn't want to work. So we're done with this list. They do come with a sticker. You can put your name and the date that it was repaired on your chassis, so you have a clue as to when you did it. So now this is the high score saver kit. I need to probably look this up because I'm not sure, just to verify where it goes, but I'm pretty confident that it goes where that one chip is. I'm probably gonna have to go get a little screwdriver to pop that chip up. Oh wow, he got the one that goes online. So this one you can put online for high scores. Never put one of those in before. So this is the Z80 CPU. So I have to double check this direction and everything because this board's on here and I don't know if this goes here, it's gonna hit that board unless it sneaks underneath it, but Boy, I don't know about that. I'm gonna have to look this up and come right back. Okay, I looked it up. It goes here. This daughter board can be removed. It's no longer needed once this high score saver kit goes on, so we're gonna cut this off and take it out. Get this out of the way first. Maybe. Okay, we're just gonna stick this in the box and give it back to him so he has it in case he needs it. Now we need to pop this chip out, and when you're taking the chips out, you wanna make sure that it has a knot. This notch corresponds with the notch that's on the board itself. If you look at these boards, they actually draw the notch so you know which way it goes. So I wanna just carefully lift this chip up. A little bit on this side and a little bit on the other side. Just slowly work it up. We are going to reuse this chip. We have to put it into the high score saver. Just trying to be gentle with it. Now this new one goes in. Want to make sure I'm putting it in the right way. Same way, there's a little notch at the top here. So it would go in this way, and you want to really take a look underneath to make sure you have all your pins in place. And then shove it down. Just kind of rock it back and forth. Look like we're all in. I don't see any legs bent. So we should be good there. And we're going to take this chip and put it right back on top. Look at it real closely before you go pushing it down. Kind of rock it back in place. And then this has the high score saver kit, so we need to install this. This gets plugged in here. Just like that. And then, by the way they have it in the picture, they have it going like this, and they give you this spacer that goes between this PCB and the lower one. You put your bolt through it, through this hole here, and then there's a little nut that goes on the bottom side. Such a fine thread, I gotta try to get it started. Of course, it's an Allen key and I don't have one up here. I can finish tightening that up afterwards. All right, so that's installed. Let's save this so he has that. Now, I was talking about this edge connector. I do have this tape. But I don't have anything that's narrow enough unless I cut it in half. thought I had some narrower stuff, but I guess not. Just don't know if I should mess with covering all these or not, because I'm a little worried, like this one right here. I sanded that one pretty good. Let me try just putting one on the bigger one here. Let's just see what happens here. When you do it, you want to make sure you're not touching another one next to it. I wonder if I just take some of this wide stuff and just put it all the way across there and take my X-Acto knife and cut between it. I don't know if that's the right way to do it or not, or if I should just wrap it around this top edge. I think I'll leave it for now. We'll put it in and we'll see what it does with the edge connector. Okay, I wiped down the back of the tube. It wasn't too dirty. I checked it. Let's just check it one more time. Make sure there's no voltage going to the... Yeah, we're dead. We're good. Okay, now we can put this back together. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to plug in our stuff that we unplugged, our neck. Okay, we have our yoke plugged in. We have the D-gauze. This is our ground wire, which I do want to cap that. But now let's get the chassis screwed back in here. I didn't clean the outside of the screen. I'll do that later. Once I slide it back in the cabinet, I can do it afterwards. Okay, I'm gonna put our neck board on. Actually, before we put the neck board on, I'm gonna connect this wire. I don't know if I have any caps out here. Let me go see if I have something. If not, I might just have to tape it for now and then cap it afterwards. Okay, I didn't have any caps back here, so I'm just gonna electrical tape it together for now. I twisted it together and we'll wrap it real good with some electrical tape. They didn't, I can't even believe they didn't even have that capped. But it's amazing what people do. I mean, if that would have fell onto the board, it would have shorted it out. Okay, we'll put our neck board on now. And we gotta put our cup on. I usually just pull back this and I'll shove one side in and then the other should drop right in. There we go. Tug on it a little bit. As long as it doesn't pop out, you're good to go. Okay, that's done. Now I'm going to get this slid into the cabinet. Move all this stuff out of the way here. All right, I'm gonna take this around back and get this slid into the cabinet, and then we're gonna put that board in tomorrow. After the monitor's in place. Now I forget, I believe the monitor went in with the chassis facing that way. Well, I guess if I'm wrong, I'll have to slide it back out. Nope, I'm right. I can see the burn in on the screen. So I need to get this in here around these wires. Goes in a lot easier when you don't have to fight that board. Hitting on something. I think up front here. Take this control panel off. Okay, let me go find the bolts for this. All right, there was one in on this side. And then one in up here on this side. Okay, I can tighten it down the rest of the way afterwards. I'm going to get the board mounted in there, or at least somewhat mounted in here. There's a couple more of these that need to go in, but I don't want to put them all in right now. I'll put them in afterwards just in case there's a problem with this edge connector and I gotta really mess with it or take it back out. Okay, then this plugs back in. All right. We need to hook up power to the monitor, and we need to hook up our signal wires. Should go this way. Get our power. This plugged in. Okay, we should be completely plugged in. Our cup is on. Those are plugged in. Yoke wires are plugged in. Board's plugged in. Doesn't look like anything's touching anything. So we get this plugged in now. And we'll just light pull on this and see what happens. A little bit of a spark. I don't know what the spark was. That hum is from down there. It was doing that when I first turned this thing on. I don't think the monitor is getting any power to it. It sparked right in there. I don't know what that was. But I remember it did that before as well. So I'm not quite sure. I'm not seeing any neck glow, I don't think. And that noise is coming from one of these down here. So let me look at this for a couple minutes. Okay, so I took the chassis back out to see what the heck would cause that spark. And I think I might have figured it out. If you look real closely right here, whoever put this ground wire in, look, there is one single wire strand laying right on that resistor. So I'm pretty confident that's probably what caused the spark. And from what I can tell, it looks like it just blew out the fuse on the chassis. So I popped the fuse out to put a new fuse in the chassis, and one of the pieces of the fuse holder fell off. Just cracked right off. So now I need to replace this fuse holder because the one leg just literally fell off. The leg was loose on there. As soon as I pried it up, fell right off. So I need to fix that, fix this wire here on the neck board, and then hopefully nothing else got screwed up in the process. It's not touching, but I think it arced to it. If you look in this green one right here, I don't know if see that little hole? I think it arced through that wire into that green one. That sure is what it looks like happened. So I need to do a few repairs. I can't believe they did that. I should have looked at it. I didn't think anything of it, you know. It's just so hard when other people work on stuff and you just don't know. I thought I heard that snapping sound when I first turned the game on before I ripped it apart, and I'll bet you it was doing it. And I'll bet you this time it just took out the fuse. Hopefully that's all it did was just take the fuse out. So I'm gonna end this video here. This is part 7. This is where we're currently at. I've got to go to dinner now, so that's going to end it for today. Tomorrow I'll pick back up. I'll get a new fuse holder installed. I don't know that I have any of these on hand. If I don't, I think I have some single fuse holders that we might just have to take this off the board and mount some other kind of a fuse holder in and just solder it on the backside. It really won't be too big of a deal if we have to do that. So I'll get that figured out tomorrow. I should have something that I can use to fix this. I even do have some fuses that have legs soldered onto them. So I might even be able to go that route if I have the right value. This is a 1.5 amp fuse. I don't know if I have any 1.5 amp fuses. I know I have 0.5, 1, and 2 amp fuses. And I don't know if a 2 amp fuse would really be that far off to worry about it or not. So I'll look into that and see. I might have some 1.5 fuses, but that might be a shorter fuse. It might not be as wide as that, but that's not really a big issue either. I'm sure I can make something work as far as a new fuse holder and a fuse for that. So I'm gonna stop for tonight and I will pick it up tomorrow and hopefully we'll get this running. One thing was when I turned the game on, chassis unhooked and everything, so we can turn the game back on. The board seems to be lighting up every time. So I don't know if that one piece of foil I put on that one end for the 5 volts was all the problem was. I'm not sure. But it did. There is a light on the high score saver kit. And I did hear it playing blind when it first turned on. So I'm just curious if it's going to do that again. These high score saver kits go into a menu when they first turn on. And then after that, if it's set for attract mode, it'll make noises, or I can just coin it up. So let me go around the front here and see if I coin it up, if it does anything or not. It might still be going through its things. I don't have it plugged in yet. Let me plug it in real quick. All right, you can hear it playing. So that's a good sign. We are getting contact on that edge connector now. So it'd be pretty cool if it was just that one 5-volt line that was causing the problem. So, all right, I'm gonna end this video, guys. This is part 7. I will be back tomorrow for part 8. And I will get the monitor working and we'll get this board put back in behind the monitor. I gotta find some sort of a screen bezel to go around the monitor, and then we can put the glass on. And we're pretty much done other than the plate for the coin door. So, all right, guys, it's going to end this video. You guys have a good night, and I will see you tomorrow.